Hi everybody, this is our second class for Digital Media 2. Today we're going to start with Revit. Once you open your Revit, you can see on the left that you have the open existing project, new project. These are for families. Families are usually things that you load into an actual project. So families can be maybe furniture, it can be curtain wall, right? And then here you have your recent projects, and then at the bottom you have your recent families. For today, for this first assignment, we're going to be working using something called massing, which will enable us to create wooden details and stuff. First thing, we need to pick a new project. Click New. You will be having this window pop up. In here, you will need to pick architectural template. Pick your architectural template. Click on Browse. And then you pick default metric for your template. Press Open. You can see here it's called default metric. And then project will be a new project. Press OK. Don't pick template. Make sure it's on project. And click on OK. Once Revit opens, you will have this interface. In here, there's a lot of things that we will cover in assignment 2. Most of the things, because they are mostly building elements, we will be focusing on something called massing, which is under this ribbon here. On your left, there's your properties panel. Right now, it's showing me properties of this view. Okay. By default, Revit creates level 1, level 2, and site. These are your views. So it will load this view and is giving me properties of this current view, which is empty. So for example, if I have a wall in this view, which is like a floor plan, right? Because it's on the floor plan. So if I have a view in the floor plan and I have a wall, for example, just to show you. So if I have this wall and then I select the wall, it's going to give me the properties of this wall. If I had a door or floor and then I have it selected, it will give me the properties of what is selected. For now, we are not going to look at walls and stuff, so massing, so I'm just going to undo. Next is our project browser. In your project browser, you can view different levels in your project. You can view your elevations. You have ceiling plans, which we are not going to look at. When you create sections, the sections will appear here. And as you know, Revit has a 3D view as well. But by default, it's not created yet. To create the 3D view, you just go on top here to this small house. You just click on the house. It will open a 3D view. First, let's go back to our level 1 here. In your level 1, if you middle mouse click and then you hold your middle mouse, you will see the cursor changes, right? So if you click and hold, you can pan around. So you can pan left, right, up, down, while holding the middle mouse. And then if you scroll your mouse wheel up, it will zoom in. If you scroll your mouse wheel down, it will zoom out. These are the controls for views, like standard views, like plans, elevations, sections. For 3D view, it works the same. So if you middle mouse, you can pan. Hold your middle mouse, you can pan. Scroll down, it will zoom out. Scroll up, it will zoom in. And if you want to rotate, you have to hold Shift on your keyboard. Shift, click your middle mouse and hold, and you can rotate around your project. Okay. On the right, you have your navigation browser, a tool that allows you to rotate, right? So if you click on home, it will rotate to your default home. If you click on top, it will go top. You can click on right, back, left. You can click on the corners. It will orient the view to that, to where you're clicking. And if you click home, it will rotate it back. Right, these are the basic tools. We are not going to look at all these legends, schedules, and all these things. The only thing that we will be using down here is your sheets, which will come later by the end of, I think, lecture 3. Right, so now you have your 3D views that's here. We will be creating a lot of 3D views, so technically one for each drawing. Let's go to level 1. As you can see, you have these things. Okay, these are elevation tags, so these will be showing the elevation on the left. Okay, so left will be west elevation. So if I select the arrowhead here, the black tip, and I right click, I go to elevation view, right click, go to elevation view, it will open the west elevation. In the elevations, we have levels, which we are not going to use yet. This will come in assignment 2. And you can always open all your views here. Right. Right now, I have a few views open. So instead of closing them one by one, okay, because sometimes if you're working on a big project, let's say it's like 50 stories or something, you'll have a lot of views open, and you don't want to close them one by one manually. What you do is you go to the view that you want to stay on, the view that you want to keep working in. So for example, right now I want to stay in my 3D view. I'm just going to open my 3D view, and then you go up here, you click close inactive windows. It's going to close everything else except the window that you were on. Right. Okay, first thing, let's go to massing and sight. In massing and sight, we will be using all these, not all these, we will be using a few of these elements for now, and then later on, once we move to a project, we will cover all these elements. Right. So here you have, in architecture, you have building elements, floor, doors, windows, okay, ramps and all these things that we will cover later. You have structure, which we will not cover, steel and all these things. And then annotate, definitely we will be using. Okay, massing and sight is the one that we are going to be using this time. Okay, so in massing and sight, you need to enable show mass. Click on enable show mass. You will see there's a light bulb that pops up. So now mass is visible. Okay, if I click again, it's going to turn it off. What happens is sometimes when you're working in massing, you save your project, you close it, and then you reopen it another time. When you come back, this will turn off. So you might think, your massing elements is missing or gone, but they are not. You just have to click show mass. Right. And if you just start drawing a mass, the moment you click in place mass, it's going to give you a warning that it's enable mass mode, so mass will become visible. Right. Now it's asking me to give it a name. I'm just going to leave it at mass 1. Click OK. Now you can see the interface here is less because we are in the massing mode. First thing, let's try to draw a massing element. So I'm going to pick a rectangle. And then maybe draw on face, this one. Yours might already be draw on face, so it might be on this one. If it's not, just pick draw on face. While you have the rectangle tool picked, you can see if you mouse over here, it shows a blue rectangle. This means that Revit is drawing on this plane, right? So this plane, as you can see, is level 1, so it would be drawing flat. So if you're looking at it in plan, it will be a flat, square or rectangle. So if I go to level 1 here, I pick the tool again, you can see it's drawing flat. If I click one time, move a bit to the right, and click a second time, I'll have a square. When you go back to 3D, you have that same square, which when you click on it, you'll have the square selected. You can, modify the shape if you want. I'm not going to. I'm just going to undo and leave it at a square. Because sometimes if you, distort the shape too much, Revit won't allow you to work with it. It will, block you from doing things. So while you have your square or rectangle selected, if you go top here, you will see create form, and then there's a drop down menu. If you click your drop down menu and you click solid form, it will create a cube or a cuboid if you have a rectangle. And then you have these controls on top where you can move, distort the shape if you want. Right, so don't distort it too much. If not, you will not be able to edit it. If you press escape a few times, you can exit, and then that gizmo, that the handles that were here will be gone. And if you want, you can pick an edge, perhaps move it a bit. Don't move it too much. Okay. If you want, you can even press the edges. Sorry, not the edges, the corners. So if you can click the corners, okay, you can move some things. You can even select the face. Right, you can select the face. As you can see, the material is transparent. There's no material assigned to it. First thing you need to do is you come to this checkered board here. Detail level, you click on it and you set it to fine. You set it to fine because sometimes, let's say you have some hatching, they don't show. So in fine, they will show. If it's on medium or coarse, they won't show. Set it to fine. Next is the graphic display options. So if you click on this box, you will find there's a few options. We will pick shaded for now. You have shaded, and you can see Revit is giving it a grayish shade. But this is not the material we are looking for. We're going to create our own material. To do that, you just pick any edge or corner or even a face if you want. Okay, anything that has to do with this box. You can even select the whole thing. Right? So pick an edge or the whole thing. On the left in the properties, you can see there's a material and finishes. Under material, right now it's set by category, which means everything that is under the massing category will have that same material, which we don't want. We want to change the materials because we want to test out a few things. Under the material where it's written by category, you just have to click at the end, just before this small box at the end. There's nothing, but if you click here, it will open a material browser, right? And then materials, they are existing materials such as aluminium, you'll have copper and all these materials like wood, right? But we don't want to use any existing materials. We want to make our own color material. To do that, you just come here, click on the new material, create new material. Revit will call it default new material. You can leave it at this, but I suggest renaming it. So right click on default new material, click on rename. Let's call this mass 1. Same as when we started the massing object, it had asked us to name the mass. We had called it mass 1 default. By default the name is mass 1, so we will call this material mass 1. On the right, under the graphics tab, you can change the color to any color that you want. I'm gonna pick a gray. I suggest don't pick blue, because sometimes when you pick blue and then you select something, as you can see, this is selected, this line, it's in blue, and then if you pick a blue color, you don't often realize that it's selecting an edge or a face. So I'll avoid blue. I'll just pick a grayish or any other color. Let's pick this light gray and then press OK, apply, OK again. Now our object has a grayish color to it. What we can do next is we can either finish the mask or we can work on it a bit more. Let's try some things that you will need later on. Right, so let's pick in the drawing tool, let's pick the circle, make sure it's set to draw on face, and then if you can see, before you start drawing, the moment you mouse over the base, it's telling you, okay, it wants to draw on this base surface, which we don't want. We want it to be drawing on any of these surface, right? So if I mouse over this surface, you can see it turns blue. But for this one, because it's too slanted, Revit is not allowing me. It's picking this one, the top one. This one also cannot, but the base one should be fine because we didn't modify it too much. Let's start on the top. Let me make a circle on top. Click one time, click a second time, you have your circle. Pick the polygon, maybe on the base, draw a polygon. So now you have a polygon and a circle. You press escape 2 times. 1, 2. You select the circle on top or the polygon at the bottom. Any of them first, it doesn't matter. Let's say you pick the circle first. You go to the base. You hold Control and you select the polygon. Now you have both selected. You go up to create form, you click the drop down and you pick void form. Revit will merge these two shapes and create a void form. Right. If you created a solid shape, it would have been a solid shape inside our cuboid kind of thing, but we pick void just to see how it cuts out. You can try again the same thing. So if you pick line, maybe this time on this face, you try a triangle. You have your triangle. Now maybe you want to try on this side, you want to try something like an ellipse. So maybe this. Escape 2 times, pick the ellipse, pick your triangle, hold Control, and then void form. It will merge these two shapes together. If you had the same shape, it would have been a uniform shape that's cut out of this. But just to try out and show you that you can merge these shapes together. We can keep working in this environment and keep creating more shapes. Okay, let me make a new shape. Okay, select this, create form, solid form. Okay, it will keep creating these shapes. You can keep doing that. But we want to make a new object. Okay, so I'm just going to undo this part only. So Control Z, Control Z. We go out of the thing. We finish mask. So now we have exited the mask mode. As you can see, it changed back to the old Revit interface, the main interface, and we don't have these controls for the masking anymore. Right. But we can still, edit some of the things because we have all these arrows and stuff. Right. So just undo this just to show you what we can do. But you cannot edit the actual masking. To do that, you have to select the masking object, click Edit in Place, and then you have your old masking controls back. Right. So you have to enter the masking mode to do that. I'm just gonna cancel mask for now. I'm gonna make a new mask. Masking and site, in place mask, leave it at mask 2. This time, let's go to our level 1 and start drawing. So level 1, pick this one, okay, the spline through points. Make sure it's set to draw on face. So you can see Revit is showing you, okay, it's drawing on this face. So in here, just draw a curve. Okay, click a few times, move your mouse, click. Don't make it too curved, just like this one. Revit will have some problems later. Try to make it less curve. So maybe like this. Okay, I think this one is a bit too much also. So I'm going to make it a bit less curve. Perhaps this one a bit more to the right. Right, so I have this curve kind of shape. Okay, if you make it too curved, Revit will have errors later, so try to make it less curved. You can make it a different shape, any shape that you want, but don't make it too extreme. So now we have this curve line. If you go back to your 3D view, you see the curve is on a flat plane because we drew on level 1 the base plane, right, which is this one. So it's this base plane. We can move these points a bit around. So I'm going to select the first point. I can lower it a bit. Maybe the middle one I can make it a bit higher, and then the last one I can lower it a bit more. So as you can see in 3D space, the curve is going up and down. Now let's draw around this curve. So pick maybe the rectangle, click on draw on work plane. Now we want to set the reference plane. So first pick draw on work plane, this one, set work plane. Then if you mouse over the first dot, you can see Revit shows you like a dotted square, right? So you mouse over and then you click on it. Now you can see the work plane has become somewhat vertical and slanted, right? So you have this, you have your rectangle tool picked. You try to draw around this. So I have this rectangle. Next, I'll pick let's say I'll pick a circle, for example. Make sure it's set to draw on work plane. Set work plane. Pick the second dot. Make your circle. Again, you pick a new one. So maybe you want to pick the polygon again. Set work plane. Pick the third one. Yes. Okay, might give you a warning. My one gave me a warning, so it might cause an issue later or not. You might not have the warning, so you can keep continuing. Next, let's see what we can make. Okay, pick the line, set work plane, set to this one. This time I make a triangle. Yep. Make sure you close the shapes. If not, it won't create the shapes at the end. Again, this time let's do an ellipse. Pick the ellipse. Set work plane. Pick the last one. Pick this. Right. So I have my ellipse. Once you have all your shapes, you can start selecting them. So pick first one, control, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Then create form, solid form. Revit will merge all these shapes together. Sometimes what happens is it cannot, because the shape is too extreme, so it cuts out this middle part, so we might need another one around here. So if you do need that, you can click a point element. You can make a point element on here. Okay, and then you make another shape and then delete this part, rejoin it. These we are not going to be using for our assignment 1. There are other massing elements, that are more complex but takes a bit more work. Right, so just finish mass and then go back to level 1. Let's try something else. Select the mass, drag it and move it here. Let's try something else. Let's make organic shape thing. So go back to architecture, pick your reference plane. The shortcut is RP. So reference plane RP. You don't have to remember the shortcuts. You just have to, it's the first time. So okay, click one time, draw the line. Click the second time. It will ask you to give it a name. I'm gonna call it A. Click one time, maybe make it slanted this time. Click second time, call it B. Make a third one, click one time, click a second time, call it C. Make sure you name them properly. If you don't name them, you won't be able to edit them as we move on. If if you go to 3D now, you don't see all these planes because the planes are not set to those custom plane. Go back to massing and site, pick your in place mass. This time we're going to call it mass 3, which is correct. Let's go to this one, right, the spline through points, or maybe let's try the spline only. You want to set to draw on work plane. You want to set the plane. In here we want to pick plane A. As we do that, Revit will show you where plane A was. Let's make a curve. So 1 time, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then press escape to exit the tool. Escape again to completely exit it. Pick the same spline tool, set the plane. This time we're going to pick B. You can see the B one, remember we had made it slanted, so B will be different. I'll try to make the curve a bit different than the first one. Escape, escape, spline tool, set work plane. This time we want C. Try to make a different kind of shape. Once you're done, you can see your free curves are there, and they are just like the planes. Select all of them, create form, solid form. Revit will create an organic shape, kind of like a wave thing based on the type of curve that you had. These are useful because later, let's say you want to make an organic roof or something, you have to make the massing shape first. You can change the material as we did. So again, material, you want to make a new material, create new material, rename it. Okay, since we didn't change for mass 2, we didn't change the material, it's only for this one. Let's make something visible, maybe red. So you have this, you finish. Okay, it's gonna give you a warning, so don't mind it. Now if you want to use this to make a floor, you go to massing and site, maybe a floor. Okay, it's not allowing me to make a floor because it's too complex. Instead of a floor, we can make a roof. So pick roof. Here it allows me to select it, and then create roof. Okay, it's a bit too complex for Revit to model that roof because of this part, but as you can see, it tried to give it a thickness, so this could have been a roof, right? Because it's a bit too curvy, so it's not letting me make a roof. But this is how you use this massing object to make building elements such as roof, floor. If you have it vertical, you can use it to make a facade, right? Okay, escape a few times. Let's start with our task for today. You save this file first. Okay, file save as, project. You browse to save location. You want to give it a name, just call it example. So this one you don't have to upload, it's the next one that you have to upload. I'll just save it, I'll call it example. Okay, so once you finish saving it, you can make a new project. File, new project. Again, architectural template. You want to browse, default metric, open. Make sure you're under project, and then press OK. So once you have your new project open, the first thing you want to do is you want to start with the massing. To do that, let's go to massing and site. Let's go to in place mass. Okay, it will tell you it's enabling the massing mode, so you just click OK. On this one also OK. Let's make a rectangle. Right. So So we have something like this, where the other part will come and connect to it on the side. Let's change the scale to 1 to 10 and then adjust the dimensions. So select this part, make the thickness maybe 100 perhaps, and then the length here, make it way shorter than this. Make this perhaps 300. You have something like this, right? So the width is 100. So if you want to dimension it, you can pick here dimension, or you can pick here dimension, or the shortcut is DI. So you just DI thing. So we know this is this. Open a 3D view. Okay, let's delete the dimensions because they're quite big, or we can just change the scale again here to 1 to 10. Select your rectangle, create form, solid form. We want the height at 80. So once you create that, you will see a dimension here. We can change it to 80. Right, so you pick the line, you can see here is 80. Let's delete these. So now we have the first one. We can finish the mass. We can select it, go to level 1. Let's make a copy of this and rotate it. So for this, we're going to use the rotate tool, which is RO, or you can pick the tool here. Right. So once you do that, you want to set it to copy. So you turn on the copy here. Now it's off. So this is copy. And then you want to click place center of rotation. So I'm going to place it at the end here. Click one time at the end. Click one time here at the end. And then I want to rotate it up to here. So we have something like this. Right. So this is 80. We just make this 380. You can always measure it if you want. Like, oh, this is 100. So here we will add another 100 to this. So this would be 300 something. If you measure this is 300. So this needs to be 300. Select this. Right, make this 300 and then drag this end to 300. Okay, it's not dragging properly, so we might have to use the align tool. So change this to thin lines, press AL for align, AL for align, or you can pick the tool here, align. Select this face and then select the second one. So now it's aligned. Just to double check, it's 300, 300, 100 everywhere. You have two objects now. Right. So let's go back to level 1. Okay, this is the normal joint. Let's select everything, make a copy, Control C, Control V, make a copy on the side. Now we're going to work on the second one. Right, so which is this one. For this one, we're gonna use something called model lines. So just pick this, right? Pick the isolate element. In here, we want to make this. We want to have a 100 dimension measurement, right? So here we're gonna use reference lines. Let's set to this plane, make a 100 line, make a 100 line. Right, so we have two 100 line, which is top and here. If we go to the front where we can see these lines, right, so it's here, don't worry, even if you cannot see it. Then make another cut in the middle, so it's gonna be this. And then we will divide this again, right, and then divide this. Here I will divide this. So now this will be our center point for our first dowel. this would be the second one. Just select these two, mirror it, press MM, or you can mirror it using this tool. Okay, so mirror it. I'm going to mirror it at the bottom as well, and then I'm going to mirror it on the left. So MM again, mirror on all the sides. So if you look at it, you can see we have the center here. Okay, just go back to this view so it's easier to understand. Press circle. We don't want to set the reference plane, so we're going to start drawing from here. You can check where it's drawing. Right, so at 10, you can always type 10 when you click the first time. You can type 10 and then press enter. It will make this. Right. So we're gonna move this because this is 100. Remember, if you go back, right, this is 100. Same like here. So we're gonna move it at 50. So halfway inside. Select it. Create form, void form. Click outside, change the dimension here to 50. Same for that one. Create form, void form. Click outside, 50. Again, change to 50. Pick this one. Create form, void form. Change to 50. Now we have all of these. We can change this to shaded so we see what's happening. We can delete these extra lines. So the reference line that we created, we can delete them. We don't need them anymore. Now we only have our holes for the dowels to go in, right? The dowels are just like tubes. Once we are done with this, we can reset it just to check what's happening. Okay, now let's make the dowels themselves. So again, this time we're going to use pick lines. We're going to set work plane. We want to set it at the end of the holes we created. So we will set it to this. We will pick these lines. Pick lines, pick. Right. So we have these lines. So I'm going to pick the first one. Create form, solid form this time. And then I'm going to set this to 100. Oh, sorry, the wrong one. So here, this one is 100. Okay. So this one also, we're going to do the same thing. Make sure you're picking the whole circle. Create form, solid form. Here, change this to 100. Next one, select this. Create form, solid form. You want to change this to 100. Base one, we're going to do the same. Okay, there was an extra line I didn't delete, so I'm going to delete it now. So create form, solid form, change this to 100. Now we have our dowels, and then we have this part. If you want, you can create a separate materials for the dowels. So click on the material, create new material, rename it to dowels maybe. Is on dowel, and then we want to change the color to maybe a light gray, so we see what's happening. Select these and this, changed it to dowels. So we can distinguish which is which. Once you are done with this, you can finish mask. Now let's work on this one. Right. So on this one, we could do the same thing. So edit in place. We want to pick lines. First, we set the work plane. We will set it to the edge of this cylinder. Right. So once you do that, you can pick the edge. Same for all of them. select it, create form, void form. This one you want to set it to 50. Same for the next one. Make sure you select the whole thing, create form, void form. You want to set this to 50. Create form, needs to be void form. Change this to 50. And then the last one, create form, void form, 50. Change the material for this as well. So let's make a duplicate of the dowels. Duplicate material and assets. Call it wood. Let's change it to something a bit more gray. We can always edit it later. Okay, same for this. Edit. Select it. Wood. You can just type it here. You can finish it. Now let's displace them. Okay, click on home. We have our first one. We can always change the material back on this, which later we can change. Okay, or let's just change it. Change this to wood. I want to make it paler. I think it's a bit too dark. So make this paler. Same for this. Edit. Select the edge. Make this paler. Right. That's okay. So this is the one that has the dowels. This is the one that doesn't have the dowels. Pick this side. Click displace. But before we do displace this, we need to make a line, an invisible line. So we will select this. I'm going to click reset. Pick this. Isolate element. Okay, these are modeled together. So let's make a copy of this. Right. So Control C. Edit element. Delete these cylinders. Just finish. It's gonna give you a warning, which is fine. Then what we're gonna do next is we will paste the new one, paste align to same place. Now we're gonna edit it. This time we're gonna delete the box. Select the box and then delete it. Now we can finish it. So now we have this is a separate element. This is a separate element. Let's make a invisible line here. Right. So take this, edit in place. Okay, it was at 100. Right, if you remember. So let's make a line. Let's set the plane to this. Right, let's measure 100, which is here, and then goes down. I'm going to delete the top line. So this one I'm going to select it. I'm going to change it to reference line. Okay, just leave it at weak reference, and then here is a reference line, and then we're going to change it to invisible, so you won't see the line, but it's there, right? So reset, click on this, pick the displace elements, move this. Now we want that line that connects from here to show, right? So if you pick this one and then we displace this one as well, technically it will show this line until halfway of the dowels where it was connected to this. It won't show all the way, but since we made that reference line, now it should show. Right, you can see that half line. If you don't do this part, this half line won't show. So this is a little trick that you can use to make the lines. Okay, you have the lines here. You can make this thicker, and then you can show the dowel lines also. Same thing, if the dowel lines don't go all the way, you can make a fake line and then a fake circle and then make it a reference line, just like we did for the vertical one here. You can make it around the dowels, and then you will have that displace element for the dowels. Right. So the dowels, since they haven't moved now, they don't have any displace lines, which is somewhat of a problem. So yeah, that's how you will be able to fake it. Let me show you for one how it works. So I'm going to take this one. Let me reset it first. Edit in place. Let me select the whole thing. Isolate element. Now we're going to pick lines. Set plane. I'm going to pick this one. I'm going to turn off the visibility. Is a reference line. Oops. Okay, let me make the line first, then I'm going to change it. Okay, so once I've picked the lines, select the line. I'm going to tell it it's a reference line, and then it's not visible. So if I finish the mask, I'm not going to do for the rest, I'm going to do for one, just to show you. I'm going to displace this again. Okay, make the path here. Now for that dowel that we didn't have, it was this one. So now you can see the dowel has the line. So if I do the same for these dowels, they will have their displacement lines. Right. So that's 2 joints. Let's make another joint perhaps. Let's make a dovetail. Okay, go on top here. Pick this one. Let's make a copy first. Okay, you can use this tool, CO, copy, or Control C, Control V. This one allows you to pick where you want to start copy from. So you can use that one. And then I'm gonna pick this, copy, CO. Let's place it here. This one I want to make it shorter this time. I can always align the sides. So if I go to 3D, I'm gonna go AL for align, AL, or the tool is here. Pick the side that you want, and this one. For this one I will make the base, maybe this a bit longer. Okay, something like this. And then this one, half the side. Okay, I'm not sure where the half is. I'll have to edit it. So for this, let's go to south elevation. You can see it's at south, so I can see this properly. So if I go to south, it's somewhere here. Now if I move this, I can even dimension it, so I know the dimension, right? This is 100, so this has to be 50. So I can do this, pick this, and then change this to a 50. Okay. If it moves both sides, we can always drag it back. So right now it was 60 something, it was at thick lines. So if you change the thick lines to thin lines, we select this and change this to 50. Now since it moved on both sides, we have to drag this to the end, so we can use the move tool, which is MV, or you can use the tool here. So you want to pick this and drag it to the end. So now we have like a half piece of timber. In this one we want to cut out that dovetail thing, right? Dovetail is this one. It's a halving dovetail. So this one. Okay, so let's cut out this part. So pick the vertical one, edit in place, pick lines, right? Set your work plane to this face. This face is on east, so if we go on east, we can see what's happening. Okay, lines, it's gonna say, if you pick the line again, it's gonna tell you because you changed the view. It's gonna ask you where do you want to draw. So we will just pick the last one, pick a line and use the work plane it was sketched in. Press OK. Okay, still cannot. Okay, we might have to do it in 3D. So line, okay, set the plane, pick this side. Let's try to draw it. Okay, we'll draw the first one. Let's go to east, pick a line. Okay, now we can pick this line. So now it's set to this. Okay, for dovetail, usually it's set at 35 degrees, so something like this. Right. So now what you can do is you can make a fake line here. I mean, you will need that line. It's not a fake line, you might need it. So pick this line, the bottom one. Let's find the half point. Select the top part. So select this. Mirror it below mm. And then cut this. Right. Delete the middle. Go to 3D. You now have something like this. This time we're going to create a void form. And we're going to set it to 50. Right. So now it's cut out this part and it's at 50. Great. We can just finish this. Pick this one. Edit in place. Let's set a work plane to create our new shape. So set work plane. Pick lines. We want to pick these lines. Or better, if you pick it at the back, it's a bit better. So set work plane. Let's pick that part where we cut it out. Now let's pick our lines. This, and this. So you have your lines there. Select it. Create form, solid form. In here you want to change this to 50. We have a full object now. We can change the material to wood, so it becomes the same material. And then we want to join this part to this part. So now this becomes a whole thing. We can delete this extra line. We don't need it for now. And then this part at the back, we can pull it. Right. So now if you finish this shape, this massing, you have this half dovetailed. So let's pick this part. I think it's better to see what's happening. And then you pick the displace tool. Let's move this. You have this dovetail. Great. Okay, maybe one more joint, I'm not sure. Let's try a miter joint, right? Let's not complicate it for this week. Let's try a miter joint. So miter joint, I'm gonna start again from this base, copy, Control C or CO, it's up to you. I'm just gonna copy this somewhere here. Miter joint is usually at 45 degrees. Make a copy of this part. Okay, let's make a copy of this. Control C. Let's edit this one. Select this. Let's try edit profile. Where's the profile? Okay. So now you can see the pink line. Cut this at 45. We can delete this. Let's finish it. We'll have to do the same at the bottom, or we can pick this, right? And then if we go to our level 1, we can move it all the way back to here, so it snaps. Okay, so if I finish it just to show you, it cuts here. Now let's do the same for this, or we can make something way easier than this. Let's take this, edit in place. Let's create a shape, set the work plane. Okay, let's do it in 3D first. I think that'll be better. So pick your line, set a plane. We want to pick the base. So this. Right. Now let's pick lines. This, and this. Now let's trim this line and this line. So TR, trim, pick this and this and this. Right. So what's left is a triangle. That's at the bottom. So here, if we create form, solid form, we can always invert this, snap it here. Okay. Now we can join these two shapes. So pick this and this. So you have it at 45 degrees. You can save your project. Right, I'm not gonna save. You can save your project if you want to. Let's go back to our level 1. Let me move this a bit more to the right. Feels a bit cramped. Let's make a copy of this. Okay, Control C, Control V. Make it a bit further. So maybe here. Let's work a bit further on this one, and then we can end the class. So for this one, what I want to do is I want to make a peg, so something that will connect these two and holds them together. A dowel, sorry. Oh, now it came back to me. Okay, so let's make a dowel here, but not like a cylindrical one. Let's connect it using a square here. So let me isolate this first. Isolate element. Right. And then up here we want to edit this thing. So edit. Let's make a rectangle. Let's set the work plane to this. Let's go to the side. Let's make some reference plane first, right? So center. Let's find the center on this side, and then let's make them invisible. Okay, we can delete them. No need to make them invisible. Let's delete them after. So maybe we have something like this. That's 15 by 40. Maybe 15 by 35. Okay. So this one, let's delete these. The base of this rectangle. So delete this one. Let's delete this side. Press tab until you can find it. So pick this, mirror this, select these lines, hold Control, select the lines, and then mirror them back down. Let's delete the reference. So you'll have something like this. Pick this, create form, void form. Maybe cut it at 20, right? And then just press finish. Okay, maybe 20 is a bit too little. Just undo it, undo, select it, cut form, void form. Maybe at 30, so it looks a bit stronger also, right? So now we will have one piece of wood that fits in there and then connects to that one. We can always finish this, reset. Same for this one, right? Let's make for that one, let's change this to wireframe so we see what's happening. Let's cut out this one, edit in place. So for this one we will edit in place. We're going to set our work plane, pick line first, sorry, and then set your work plane. We will set it to this face, right? Now we can pick not all of this, but this, and this. Now let's trim everything. Trim, pick this and this, and this and this, right? This and this. So now we should have that rectangle. Create form, void form. Like we said, 30. Now we have that, 30 here, 30 here. We can finish it. Let's create the box that goes in here. Massing inside, in place mass. Okay, mass 12 is fine. Pick lines, set work plane. Let's set it to this. Right. So pick line, and line. Trim it. This and this and okay, these two are connected. These two and these two. Select it to make sure it's a full shape. Create form, solid form. Here we will move it to 60, 30 on both sides. Right, so you can see it's a full object. Change your material to wood. Press finish. Change your views to shaded. Now displace them. Okay, let's displace this top part first. Move this to the right, a bit to the back, and then this one move here and here. Let's change this to wireframe. LI. Okay, still cannot, but we will try to align it. Okay, so it will be something like this. So if we displace this, try to displace it here. This one, let's move to the left a bit, and then this one a bit higher. Okay. So we use this line as guides, and then we can delete them afterwards. Rotate it back to the home view. Change it to shaded. Let's make the paths. If you cannot find them, rotate it a bit. Right, so you should have your exploded diagrams. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I want you to make the half mitre with lap. Okay, so you make that one by yourself and figure it out. Right, so the mitre angle, the top one would be the same as this mitre, so 45, and then it's half mitre. So if you think that you can take this mitre that we created and edit it, right? it'll be faster. But if you cannot figure out, try to make it from scratch. Okay, so you have to have this for your upload. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the 6th one is the one that you will create the half miter. Okay, then I'll show you how to make it look nicer a bit next week. Oh yeah, I think next week is better. For now, just concentrate on how to make the joints, and remember, it's all about how you set the planes. Okay, you just have to figure out how to set the planes and stuff. Okay guys, thank you, see you all next week.